Welcome back. Listening to Inside the Great Outdoors. So I see this note from Ted Moore on Facebook. 2 compliments to Northfield Fireplace and Grill. Wandered in there yesterday, prepared to spend 4 figures on a new gas grill. Walked out with all the information I need to fix the one I have. For free. Think that was dumb. Where do you think I'll buy my first green egg early next spring? And where will I be telling everybody I know to go when they need grills, fireplaces, or chimney cleaning? That's nice. And then after listening to Jim's call, I have to thank him for the memories of early 90s, Friday evening.
70s.
I'm sorry. Good, 70s. Friday evenings at KSU when people would look at me and say something I'd have no idea what I just heard, but I giggled anyways. He's always got good comments. But, that was very nice. Yeah, Northfield Fireplace, I'll tell you what. See, it's not just all about the money. You know, they can help, and people really appreciate.
It's a family business, and
Yes.
they're really nice guys out there
Right.
and girls. They're really, really nice.
They are.
They're knowledgeable, but they're not
pushy.
They're not pushy.
No.
They're not. They'll answer your questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question.
And there's no hard sell.
And they don't try to sell you. And if it's something that can be repaired, like Ted said,
exactly,
they're going to tell you. They're not going to go, don't worry about that. You need to buy this new one that has the rotisserie and the smoker and the this and the that and the headlights and the.
He's going to buy the green egg come spring. You know,
those are nice.
Yes, they are. So,
and they got a beautiful store out there. You go in there and you're just. I was flummoxed. I was just walking all over the place.
Well, you go in the back where all those fireplaces are going.
It's really great.
It is. They always take care of I have them cleaned, and they put in my fireplace when I built the trophy room, and I put it, and then I'm going to be using it. They're saying highs in the 20s next weekend.
Awesome.
So it's times changing weather-wise, but we had 2.25 inches of rain. It rained all day Friday, and the chicken coop flooded again. Oh man,
which is fabulous. All that rain, much needed.
Yes. Today,
but for the fishermen,
steelhead, forget it.
The steelhead guys,
they don't like it.
Well, they love it.
Well, yes, there's good and bad.
Steelhead fishing's a 2-headed monster.
Yes.
If the water's too low,
the
fish won't come in,
right.
which is the way it's been.
Right.
Now, you get 2.5 inches of rain, the rivers are blown out.
Right. But
the fish moved up.
Yeah. Right. So now
once they start coming down again, you check those
pools,
the register, what is it? What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of the chart that shows you the flow.
The river flows.
The river flowage.
The flowage charts.
Yeah.
That are on the, you can search them up online. They have them. And keep an eye. Once that line starts coming down on the graph and gets below 500, get out to a river near you.
Right.
Because
the thing about it, what it is,
loaded.
The only reason it's not good fishing when they're like they are, you can't fish them. They're too fast. It's like fishing in the rapids. But once it comes down, the fish can go.
The fish are still there.
They don't care.
And they'll go up, all the way up those rivers.
Yeah.
They'll go way
so
upstream.
You're right. It's good and bad. It'll be bad for a little while, it'll go down.
That's the thing, steelhead fishing, and this is, for our national audience, Ohio is one of the top destinations for steelhead fishing in the country. Now, these are stocked fish. They're not wild, though some have reproduced, and there are some wild fish mixed in. But the vast majority are stocked fish. So every year, these fish, in the springtime into the summer, they head out of the rivers into Lake Erie, where they spend all their time eating and getting fat and sassy and, tangling up walleye anglers' lines. And then in the fall, when the water temperatures start to drop, they move in closer to shore. and they'll get when there's a lot of rain and that current comes out of the rivers, all the tributaries, the steelhead will stage at the front of the mouths of the rivers or streams, and then once they feel that flow of cold water, they head for the hills and go in to those rivers and streams and keep pushing up, and now's the time to catch them because they're feeding heavily, getting ready for winter and the spawn. So,
and we got
Yeah,
a
and
bunch of rivers that are accessible,
Right.
lots of
either by
access.
foot or by small boat. You can,
Yep.
go up to
And
the
it's
mouths of
not
these rivers
unusual to
and do
catch 20 hookups a day,
Yeah.
which is like having it in
can-
Alaska.
Right. You
You
can
know.
have the trip of a lifetime, and you think, well, gee whiz,
So we have,
it's in urban areas, which a lot of it is. There's
Yeah.
cities like Paynesville and East Lake and
Rocky River.
Rocky River, and all of those places. Rocky River, you can see downtown Cleveland from there.
Yeah.
So, but the fish are there and lots of access. And if I would suggest, if you're coming to Ohio and you can do this, plan your trip for weekdays because
Yes.
the rivers are less crowded
right.
on weekdays. So, and
Yeah, and-
tackle-wise, you don't need, you can buy steelhead gear and fly rods and all different kinds of flies and this and that, but you can use bass tackle. You really can. Or you can use a 7-foot crappie rod, as long as you have the drag set right with
A nice
the thing.
spinning rod. Big, a medium-sized spinning rod.
Medium spinning
That's all
rod.
you need.
And maybe 8 pound test, I think, is a good. And I would even go less than that. But you can throw spoons, you can throw spinners, you can throw small crankbaits. If you want to use eggs under a float, you can use that. Egg sacks work really, really well. You can use a jig, a small hair jig, feather jig, tipped with a maggot or a minnow. You can use night crawlers. You can put a night crawler on a hook under a float, and the steelhead will just hammer it.
Wow.
But there's all different kinds of ways to catch them. And if you're curious, you can get online. There's a lot of places, a lot of YouTube channels that are dedicated to steelhead fishing in Northeast Ohio. You check it out.
Yeah.
It's
So we have
really good.
walleye, great walleye, and we have steelhead. So
Yep.
we got a bunch of calls. Let's get to. Good morning, Steve. Steve,
Hello, gentlemen.
how are you?
I'm great and blessed. I want to first say I wish everybody a very a good Thanksgiving
Good.
coming up
Thank
this
you.
week.
Yes.
You mentioned the desert, and I spend a lot of time in the Sinai Desert
Oh,
in Sinai Peninsula.
yeah.
And have you? And then they use camels for transportation there
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced a desert spring?
No. No.
It's the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Really explain.
Because the water falls on those mountains, and because of the underlying structure, it has to work its way down to the desert floor below.
Okay.
Anyways, the water will appear, and it'll be flowing for 2 or 3 feet, and then because of the underlying structure, it'll just totally disappear right in front of your eyes and appear farther down the trail or another spot.
Really?
And the Bedouins, they took me to a place they call, this is how they survive out in the desert, because they know where the water is, as
Yeah.
well as the camels.
Okay.
It took me to a spot called the Water Fountain, where water was coming out outside of a mountain, cold water, because it's colder above,
Yeah.
was flowing directly out of the rock and splashing onto the ground and totally disappearing. And then it would
Wow.
Wow.
It's neat.
Neat.
Most mind.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. Nature's got some really strange things. Wow,
And
that's
the people
cool.
that live there figure that out.
Yes,
You know? It's
that's how they can
amazing.
live
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Because they know how to adapt. Great. Well, appreciate that. That's wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you
And
for the
the
call.
camels also have that sense of being able to, sense where water
Sense
is.
where the
Yeah,
water is,
water.
sure, because they need that to live. Very
So
good.
the smugglers used to load stuff up onto camels and send them out in the night. and they would cross the border heading to whatever little water hole that they knew where it was. Couldn't be 20 miles away, but they could smell it. They have jumped out the country.
That's cool.
And
that's cool.
Occasionally they'd abandon the camels, and I had a chance one time to get one for free, but the Nature Authority came over there. Now they handle that, and they have a whole division of camels.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, have a good.
You have a nice Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Have a good
Thank you,
Thanksgiving.
Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Now, that was some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Can you imagine they just load a camel up and let him go?
Yeah.
And he knows where to go.
That's like some horses know where to go. They know to go back to the ranch.
Oh,
you know?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm hunting in the mountains, and that was the problem. They would turn around, and they'd run home.
Yeah.
And now you got one less horse to ride home. Somebody's going to have to walk. So let's get to Michael. How's it going, Mike? Oh.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Man.
All right. I'm sad I'm at work, but can't fish all the time, I guess.
Yeah.
But glad I got you guys to listen to.
Good.
Yeah. Been doing a lot of night fishing lately.
Okay.
Walleye, casters for walleye.
Yeah.
And I just a few tips, real quick. I'll keep this to
Yeah.
because I know you got a lot of callers. Two pieces of tape on your fishing pole, 15 inches apart. Will save you a lot of heartache. Guys out there, flabbergasted by guys out there catching fish and not knowing what 15 inches or having any way of measuring.
Oh, okay. Yeah, to be legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea.
Because I'm like Carl, I catch jinks. You know what I mean? I got to be careful.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that and when I show people that, they think I'm some kind of wizard or something. You know what I mean? It's like common sense. But
I hate to tell you, Michael.
sometimes it's not so.
I hate to tell you, I don't need to put tape on my rod. I got a special way to measure 15 inches.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh,
In between his ears.
No, it's my
the big
feet.
old feet he's got.
I got to wear a size 15 shoe.
Is it 15 inches?
Yeah, you guys have filthy minds. You know that?
I don't.
No,
I
your
didn't
head.
say
I
anything.
didn't. I said your head.
Mm-hmm.
Your head. On your head. On top of your body.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I know what you were doing.
Yeah, right.
Your mouth said that, but
I
you're...
didn't say anything. I'm
Good.
just
Well, have a
sitting here.
wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right, you two, take care,
Hey,
gentlemen.
we'll see you.
Got you. Okay. We got to take a
Mike.
break, and then we'll get to Rob on the other side. Listening to Inside the Great Outdoors on a beautiful Sunday morning. So we'll take a break and be back.
Maybe we should not play the Joe music.
Whether you're a novice or a well-seasoned angler, if you want that extra edge in catching more fish, you want one of the many species of Kodiak scent. Made from real bait fish, Kodiak fishing scents are made from pure freeze-dried bait. Freeze drying enhances the scent considerably, making it the most potent fishing scent available to the fishermen today. It comes in many flavors, including shad, crayfish, salmon egg, and the most popular, minnow. Add the paste to your lures, it really sticks. And when a fish hits, it doesn't let go. And if you use tube jigs, try the tube injector. This handy syringe is made especially to be inserted into a tube jig. Kodiak fishing scents are now available online at castaway.com. That's castaway with a K.com. If you want to catch fish, you want Kodiak from Coulis.
Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back. Listening to
Tuscarawas River has them too.
What's that?
Tuscarawas River has them too.
Yeah, we were talking about saw guys that in Ohio they removed the minimum length from Ohio lakes.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the phone lines. Let's get to Rob. Good morning, Rob.
Hey now.
How are you?
Hey. Good, sir. Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Thanksgiving. I wonder if you guys can help me out.
Sure.
Help me out with a situation. Unfortunately, I lost my son last year.
Oh, that's too bad.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, but condolences.
He had 3 pistols and an AR-15. Where would I get rid of them? Where could I sell them? What's the best thing to do?
Oh boy, a gun dealer? Maybe Finn Fur? Do they buy guns?
I don't know if they buy.
I think they do buy.
I think so.
Doesn't Great Lakes Outdoor Supply buy?
I think they buy.
Yeah.
Too.
So Great Lake, where do you live?
I live in Lakewood.
Let's see. I don't know of a gun dealer.
There's a Finn, Feather, and Fur in Middleburg Heights.
Right.
So
that's
might
not
be
too bad.
That might be a good place to start. You can give them a call and ask.
Yeah,
and ask them.
And then
the other thing you can do is maybe call your local police department.
Yeah, they might know of
they
some
might
place
know
where
of
you
a
can,
gun dealer where you can.
Okay, now what about those gun shows they have at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds?
Like the fairgrounds and stuff.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
I would.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I wouldn't go.
Walk 4 firearms. Hey guys, what do you got?
Right.
Yeah.
I would
So
start with.
I used to
Finn,
know a
Feather,
lot
and
of gun
Fur.
dealers, but I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Gun dealers that'll give you a good price, and they're not gonna.
Yeah, they'll be
sell
straight
them
with
to
you.
Some.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You
don't
might
know
have
anybody.
something good, and they'll take advantage of the situation. So
maybe somebody will call us.
yeah.
Joe's not feeling good today. He knows quite a few gun associates. Maybe he'll call back if he's listening. And
if you want to,
leave your number with Johnny, and maybe we can call you back if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Thanks, okay, we'll see what we can do.
But you might want to contact your local police department. See if they have any suggestions.
That's a good idea. And that place out in Middleburg Heights, that's where the old Kmart was, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's right on Bagley Road.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, give them a call first and see.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're open today. I'm pretty sure they're open.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not a super rush, but at the same time, I was just sitting around and going, who would know? And
sure,
you guys.
Okay.
Well, we're not that big of gun guys. Joe's more the gun guy, and I used to know a lot of gun guys, but unfortunately, some of my buddies, and within the last year, some of them passed away.
Yeah. Okay. Well, take care and good luck, and have a nice Thanksgiving.
Good luck, and we're sorry about your son.
Yeah,
we really are.
Wow.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, fellas.
Sure.
Yep.
Oh.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rob.
Be well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our condolences go out today to the Eulis family. A friend of ours, Bob Eulis, passed away this week. He was a year or two younger than me. He was the director of the Cleveland Convention Bureau for a while and the Lake County Convention Bureau. And he was behind all those perch fests that they used to have. Remember, Carl? We'd go out on those perch fests.
Oh, yeah.
Really a good guy,
Yeah,
So
we have some good Bob Eulis stories. He
we really
he was
do.
fun to. We went fishing with him, and it was so funny. We were hammering the perch on the charter boat we went out on before Perch Fest, and he couldn't catch a cold. And I mean, it was every drop up and down for us, and he was the just picking at him. So
we really gave it to him.
Bob, look, if you want to come over, you want to hold my rod. There's a fish on it. Just all sorts
and
of
stuff. And
stuff
he was moving
like that.
from one side of the boat to the other side of the boat,
wherever he moved.
And I remember he had one fish on, and the charter boat's captain's name was Mike.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get that fish off the hook, and he went, Mike, could you take this fish off the hook?
Oh, that was the end right there.
Oh, that was the end. Poor Bob, he really took a beating over that.
Oh, yeah, that was...
Carl and me really gave it to him. So,
oh, yeah. Great
So,
guy.
you know,
though.
I
And
know.
he took it like a man, and you know,
Yes, we
really
had
nice guy.
We had a super nice guy. We had great fishing memories with
Mhm.
Bob, you know, and these memories will last forever. I hope you're in a safe harbor now, Bob. We all loved you.
Mm-hmm.
Again, our deepest condolences go out to Bob's family.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for everything, Bob.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you, Bob.
there you go,
Thank you,
Bob,
Bob.
yeah.
You did a lot of good things for fishing in northern Ohio.
Yeah, cool. With the guns, Mark wrote Parma Armory, and I don't know what.
I think that's
Parm- yeah,
I think
that's
that's a gun
another-
shop.
It's a gun shop.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a gun shop. It's off of Brook Park, I do
Oh,
believe.
okay. So there's a lead already.
Yeah,
Parma
there's a
Armory.
lead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's not that far from
yeah.
him. So.
It's I can't think of the road that it's on, but it's off of like Big Creek Parkway and Brook Park. There,
Yeah,
there's an armory there, and there's a couple of buildings in there.
yeah.
And there's a
It's
couple
actually
dealers in
Parma
there.
Armory
Armory,
Shooting Center
right?
is the name
Yeah.
of it.
It's on
And-
Houseman Road.
Houseman Road. That's the name.
Yeah.
5301. We'll wait for Rob to get a pencil and a piece of paper if
Yeah.
he's still listening. The Parma Armory Shooting Center is at 5301 Houseman Road. That's Hauseman. Oh, it's Hauserman.
Hauserman Road,
Man, my eyes are getting to be as bad as Joe's.
and it's right by
You got any-
by
you got
Big
any,
Creek Parkway, and
glasses?
it's
No.
across. It's across from Walmart there.
What's that stuff you get shot in your eyes? Botox.
Botox for the blepharospasm.
Mhm.
You didn't say it right again,
Oh.
Joe.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying it.
Go. Yeah. So there. See, we
Yeah.
got a good lead on it.
They open at 10.
Oh.
And it says, if you want the phone number, Rob, this is the phone number, 216-242-6717. 216-242-6717.
See,
I know
There you
somebody over there, Danny. You might want to check with Danny. Everybody knows Danny there, so tell him Norm told you to find Danny, and
Yeah.
he'll steer you clear or steer you straight.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. See, we got an answer there.
Okay.
So,
I forgot about that place.
how about a bio for this bunch of?
How much
here we
time
go.
do
We
we
got
have?
about 3 minutes.
That's not enough.
Okay, we'll take.
That's not enough for you, Joe.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, Joe's bio is going to take the rest
Oh,
of the
boy,
show.
you know,
Uh,
this is
but
gonna-
you were saying about that stuff that it was like I can't. Number one, I can't believe I did some of that stuff.
Mhm.
Number one, and number two, going to Russia. I think that was the biggest. Going to Russia during a Cold War
Mhm.
was like going into another world. They watched you, and the mystique is what made it. Now it's no big deal. So, that really
No,
made
they'd
it.
probably throw you in jail now over there.
Well,
if you
yeah.
went over there. So.
But here's the thing: in Russia, they treated hunters there as elite,
Like the aristocrats.
right?
Yeah.
Because the average guy in Russia
Couldn't-
couldn't hunt,
Right.
so they didn't. Like they would smuggle in watches. Remember when the battery watches first came out?
Mm-hmm.
They would smuggle watches and tennis shoes and jeans.
Blue jeans. Yep.
Blue jeans, because they didn't have them and they wanted them. And I remember when I was there and going through customs because they lost my bow and arrow or gun. No, I had bow. They lost my gun. They had other guys you could see pulling all this stuff out of their luggage because I had some jeans because that's what you hunted with. And so it was no big deal for us. But, boy, they were getting those because, jeans back then, $200 a pair, something they paid $10-15 for. And tennis shoes, too, same thing. So it was, but yeah, that's what made
when
it.
you were talking about those humps before, I thought you were talking about Russia. You remember, Carl?
Mhm.
Yeah. Never mind.
Oh, God. Let's take a break. 216-901-0945 is the phone number. We'll take a break and we'll be back.
If If you troll for walleye, steelhead, or even salmon, you need to check out Castaway's Magnetic Divers. The release is magnetic, so if it trips accidentally, no need to retrieve it. Simply give the line slack, it sinks and resets itself automatically. When fishing is slow, trip the diver when trolling. It will come up through the water column and very often trigger a strike because you are now covering different depths. It can be set to go off to the right, left, or straight behind the boat. It comes in 3 sizes and different colors. Why not try one today? You can order them online at castaway.com. That's castaway.com with a K. You will not only improve your fishing success, but will make trolling fun again because of no more retrieving after a false release. That's Castaway's Magnetic Diver at www.castaway.com with a K.
Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back. Listening to Inside the Great Outdoors. Is there something I wanted to get back to?
The bios.
Maybe. Yeah, the bios. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we got a bunch of new listeners.
Right, from all over the country, including
So,
other
thank
countries.
you, our listeners and our new listeners, and, of course, our sponsors for letting us into your homes and cars this morning. As you've been listening, this is no regular hook and bullet show. We cover many bases: hunting, fishing, birding, hiking, cooking, especially cooking, history. We know a lot about history from experience. There's about 215 to 20 years of history talking here.
And that's just Joe.
Yeah. we cover boating, farming, medicine, both vet and human. Very little difference sitting around this table here. And, of course, chickenology. I'll give you a short bio of this cabal that's not on the police blotter, believe it or not. Joe Castaway Coulis, the host, a semi-retired taxidermy man, inventor of the freeze-dried taxidermy technique, big game hunter, took the big 5 with a stick bow, licensed PH hunter in Africa, record-holding fisherman, charter boat captain of a fleet of boats on both Lake Erie and Ontario, author, inventor, TV star, storyteller, entrepreneur, photographer, personal friend of Matthew Brady, holder of 7-year degree from Kent State. I'm not sure of what, but he's got a degree from Kent State. Trapper, old and kind of an, shall we say, a chicken whisperer. An octogenarian, almost +1 here shortly. And yes, he's still around. Joe Keogh, he's not on today. He's a little under the weather. That's our bagpipe-playing Irish resident chef, a retired Geauga County Sheriff's Department detective, Air Force veteran, world traveler, hunter, fisher, trapper, good news philosopher. And those rumors about him being seen around Parkman wearing a white toga-like robes and sandals last summer are unwarranted. Oh, of course, there's Big Daddy, Carl Bachtel, our famous NBC affiliate TV3 reporter, photojournalist, vignette producer, storyteller, fishing technique lecturer, especially when it comes to crappie and ice fishing, ice thickness Tester. And oh, big, he's big, and he's a daddy of 6 kids. He's our food taster and tester. We can't forget Johnny, our board guy and musical director. He does a great job keeping us old men in check. Finally, there's moi, Dr. Norm. I'm a retired veterinarian. My clients all knew me as Dr. T. I have a background in zoology and herpetology and a doctorate in veterinary medicine from the Ohio State University. Go Bucks. You did it yesterday. Beat the pants off of Indiana.
Oh, what a game.
Cook. A cook. I'm not really a chef, maybe a pseudo sous chef of some sort. I'm one of those really strange herp guys, kind of, and a shaman and of various and dubious distinction. Thanks again for listening. Give us a call, 216-901-0945.
You forgot to mention that that Carl is the dink catcher.
Well, I never saw him catch a dink in my
Well, you
life.
probably never saw him catch a fish either.
Oh, I
but,
saw him catch a lot of fish.
Yeah,
He
they were all
outfished me every
dinks.
time I
Well,
went fishing with
that's
him.
not saying much.
Dinkology.
But he has a tape measure on his fishing reel, 4 inches, because that's what he always catches. So it's, yeah, that was very good, Doc. You took some time to do that. That was nice. Yeah, wow. Yeah, we are blessed with the outdoors that we have in Ohio. Boy,
Absolutely.
Well, we talked about the great steelhead, and we talked about the great walleye. And
It's
then
amazing the way we got together,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, this show has been on
For a
since
long
the
time.
80s.
right.
And with Darcy Egan and
Jim Peters.
and
And then
Reno
Arbogast
Rita.
guy used to be all the time.
But Reno kind of got us together.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
I called in a couple times,
Yes.
and Reno said, "What do you do for a living?" And I told him,
Yeah.
and he said, "Can you come in?" And I said, "I don't know anything about radio." And he
Yeah.
said, "Just come in and sit down."
Yeah,
So I sat down,
Yep.
and he was getting sick at that time,
yeah.
and I came in, and
Yep.
and then
I know before his diagnosis, he was, because I had done stories with him
yeah,
for the news on different
right.
hunting and fishing and stuff.
Yeah, because he was a game warden.
hmm And then he was the outdoor education specialist and all sorts of stuff.
Dog
And
handler.
dog
for,
handler,
Yeah.
and I mean he was the face of the Division of Wildlife up here in Northeast
Right.
He
Ohio.
was the go-to
for
man
sure.
for the
He was
division.
always on TV.
Yeah.
and had a great personality, great
Great
on-air
guy.
personality.
Yes.
And he was like, "You want to come in?" He used to do the show by himself
Yeah.
Yes.
and just rely on callers and everything else. But Jim Peters would do the show with him from time to time.
But they would
And
argue.
then when Jim, yeah,
They argued.
oh yeah,
Woo!
and then Jim would be out of town on business or what, and then he'd call me up and say, "Hey, you want to come in?" So I started coming in way back when it was on a different channel, and
Yeah.
it just stuck. And
I would
when
call in a lot, but I was only in studio once. In fact, it's when it switched places, and he didn't tell me, and I went out
you went
to
to the wrong place.
Went to the wrong place.
Oh.
So
Not you.
I remember Jim.
well, he told me he didn't.
know.
He forgot to tell me that it's in a new station.
I remember Jim asked me, he said, "What do you do for a living?" I says, "I'm a doctor." He goes, "What kind of doctor are you?" I says, "What kind of doctor are you? You a chiropractor?" I says, "No, I'm a veterinarian." He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you a chiropractor." Jim could be a little caustic at times.
He's got a little
He was
bit of,
funny. He was a good guy.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
and I remember the day we all came in, the Sunday after he passed away,
Mhm.
and we were all here, and after the show, because we didn't know what was going to happen with it. After the show, I went squirrel hunting, and I'll never forget. It was a sunny day. It would have been in early fall,
Mhm.
And
I think I gave his eulogy on the show too. Didn't I give a eulogy? Yeah.
So I went in the woods, sat down there, hunting squirrels. It was quiet. And I'm thinking, I could probably do that show for a few weeks till they figure out what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget that. And then I remember it started, and I thought, I really would like to do this. After a few weeks, I thought I could do it, and I really wanted it. And I'll never forget, I called Jim, and I says, how can I run the show? How could I take it over? And I don't know if that's the word I want to use, take over. But anyways, he says, don't worry, it'll be handed to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. It just was handed. I'll never forget that. But he said...
And I think he put up a little money to start it, too.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, because it was... Although back then, they had one sponsor that took care of the whole show, the car dealer. Now we got
Pat O'Brien Chevrolet.
Yeah.
I know
now,
Pat and Jay were really good buddies.
Yeah. And now it's actually costing me to keep it on, but it is so much fun, and people rely on it, count on having it there, that it's worth it.
They like listening, like even folks that don't call in, like let's say a Ted Moore or something, but he always puts a note on the Facebook page or something like that, and we've got to meet him a couple times at shows, and that's been fun.
Yeah.
And
it's
putting a face with a
right.
name.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, that's fun.
It is. And the thing is, I was telling them, because I talked to the people that run the national show now, and I mentioned how did they call me, and they heard about the show and they listened and they liked it, and I says, what's very interesting, and I wonder if it'll transpose to, if that's the word, to our national audience, and I says, we have a lot of women listeners, and they don't hunt or fish.
Some of them do.
Some do, sure. Some do. But it's the cooking and it's the bird. It's such a general outdoor show, and we try to have something for everybody.
A smattering.
Yes, right.
Yep.
It's not like it used to be all just hunting and fishing. That's interesting.
We don't argue much.
No, because you're too busy picking on me. What would you guys do if I wasn't here to pick on? Who are you going to pick on? Yeah, is right.
Pick on your bones, Jim.
Yeah, right. Oh, okay.
That's what we'll get a cardboard cutout of you.
Okay, so I want to run this quick because my cousins were over visiting, and they said they have a friend that's a hunter, and what he wants to do, and they wondered if it's possible, is when he dies, he wants his ashes put into bullets and give to his friends that they could either shoot him into different parts of the woods, but what I thought is maybe more a memento, because now when someone dies and they have ashes, they sit in that urn right wherever.
Urn.
Well, whatever. So
I'm not saying nothing. I don't want to hurt Joe's feelings.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, because you're conjuring something else.
No.
But anyways.
There's also, well.
But wait,
with the
quick.
Bullets?
Yeah. So, but what I thought, it could be done, but the way to do it would be put it in shotgun shells and give it to his friends to use or not. But I would think it would be neat to see, oh, there's Joe sitting on the shelf.
Put his name on the shell.
Yeah. Or make a little monument, or not monument, but a little, what's the term I want to use for it? Not a trophy, but a display of some kind where you could glue it down, put his name and date and stuff. But I thought, that could be done pretty easily. But shotgun shells would be the thing. So
I've heard of guys that Larry Dahlberg, he's a big game fisherman.
Yes.
He said when he dies, he wants his ashes
put in a river?
Mixed into plastisol and lures made out of it.
Oh.
And he wants to go to different places in the world, like the Amazon, and use a really light line with that lure on it and cast it out. Let the fish take it, and the line breaks, and he goes with the fish.
Oh,
that was his thing.
Yeah,
that was sort of neat.
Yeah, but the whole thing would have to get with the family to pull that off. But that's That's something I thought would be pretty
I was
cool.
going to have a dartboard made of my ashes and give
Yeah.
it to my wife.
There you go.
Good. We'll take a short break. And then what are we going to learn on the other side?
Maybe a little duck hunting.
Oh, okay. We'll take a break and
I got
we'll
a duck story from yesterday.
All right.
Oh, okay. We'll take a break and be back.
Out here in the fields, I found for my meals.
Do you enjoy a good story about hunting or fishing? Then you need to get your hands on Tales from the Trails, the real-life adventures of Castaway Coulis. Take a journey around the world with Joe as he recounts some of his best hunting and fishing trips, from Africa to Alaska, from behind the Iron Curtain to Australia. You can share in his memories through the book, complete with pictures to take you on the journey. It's a trip back in time looking through the eyes of an outdoors legend. Order your copy today on Amazon or at castaway.com. That's castaway with a K.com. Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
If you see a faded sign at the side of the road that says 15 miles to the left.
Well, welcome back. Listening to Inside the Great Outdoors. So what are we going to learn in the Dock Exchange today?
Maybe a little bit about layout hunting. Not too many people know about that. I
Yeah.
talked about it a few years ago, but I haven't since.
So what is layout hunting
Well,
for those that
you know,
don't know?
this is the season. You know, it's duck hunting, small game hunting. We talked about rabbit hunting last week. Deer hunting, at least the gun season's going to start next Monday, December 2nd. Be careful when you're out there, guys. You know, rabbit hunting. I still have memories of the rabbit hunting. That small game hunting always sticks in my mind. You know, when you'd see all those cars parked along the side of the road. You know, with the red hats and red shirts and no blaze orange back then. You'd see the guys in the canvas kind of vests, going in the woods. You don't see that now, but I like the small game hunting. And I missed one thing when I was talking about rabbit hunting last week. If you clean those rabbits in the woods, you have dogs, take those guts and put them up in the trees, because the guts are full of tapeworm sections, and the end host of that particular tapeworm, Taenia pisiformis, is the dog or fox or coon or coyote. So stick those guts up in a tree so your dogs don't eat them. But what we're going to talk about today is layout hunting. I started layout hunting in the mid-'70s. Our first tender boat was an ancient 19-foot Lyman painted flatback and held together with about $800 to $900 worth of liquid nails. A very comfortable, warm boat that would hold 100 decoys, one layout boat, and 3, shall I say, unstable duck hunters. One day we were crossing Sandusky Bay during the split, I think it was, through some skim ice, and we noticed the bilge pump was, shall I say, working overtime. We got the Lyman back on the trailer and noticed quite vividly that the hull looked like it had been in a battle with a brown bear. A finger placed easily through the hull proved it proved that we either had to buy a $2,000 bilge pump or another tender boat. So we kind of resurrected our old vintage 65 Boston Whaler Sport, appropriately named the Henway. You ask, what's a Henway? And I would answer, about 2 pounds. That was the name of that boat. We we as a group of the three amigos used this boat on Lake Erie and even hauled it down to Florida. We put a new Evinrude 85 on the back, and voila, we had a new tender boat. The whaler was safe and made transfers to the layout boat a lot safer. Wasn't as comfortable as that old Lyman, but a lot safer boat. We could put easily 100 decoys in it, and put the layout boat in it and the duck hunters, and so off we went. So we got the boat ready to go. These layout boats, ducks usually land into the wind. So the layout boat's got the bow's got a face into the wind. You put your layout boat in the middle of your decoy spread, which is usually we put out 100 decoys or so, and we'd have a couple of pockets in the middle, so that's where the ducks would land. Now, you only hunt one person at a time. There's one person in the layout boat, and the other two guys are back in the tender boat drinking coffee and making fun of the guy in the layout boat who's missing the ducks. It's amazing how good the layout boat's silhouette is when it lies concealed with the deeks. We would paint the layout boat the same color as Sandusky Bay, and we kind of roughen the surface of the layout boat with the paint with some baby powder to make it look rough, so when the water would hit it wouldn't shine as much. I remember one time we had a lot of extra paint, and a fellow hunter, a friend of ours, was out of town. I think he was up in Canada at that time. We thought it was a pretty good idea to paint his Ford F. I think he had an LTD at that time with this extra OD paint. So we painted that car up. Our friend returned from his Canadian trip. He definitely thought it wasn't that good of an idea because he actually used this vehicle quite a bit. But finally, as the years passed, and it took years, I think he found it eventually somewhat amusing. When we layout hunted, we only used one gun. We put one gun in the layout boat, and we bought a 12-gauge, 3-inch Smith & Wesson semi-automatic shotgun. We found that gun to be a super reliable, well-built gun. It was used by most of the police departments around here at that time. It never misfired. It was built like a brick commode. Now, we had another gun in the boat. It was my old H&R 12-gauge full choke topper, and we used that for crappies. And, of course, we had the net to pick up the cripples. We rarely used calls, except if the ducks were flying pretty high. I don't think they worked or they heard the calls anyway. Occasionally, we used black flags to hopefully attract the high flyers or the ducks that were out way in the bay or flying over the lake. Best hunting was first light or right before a storm came in. The years fly by like flocks of birds. Adopt the peace of nature. Her secret is patience.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So just quickly, explain what that layout boat looks like, how it lays in the water and
it's
stuff.
It's a flat boat, and you can only get one guy in it at a time, and you lay in it. You lay it, you got your back against the back of that boat. It's a coffin-type boat. It's like you're laying in a coffin, basically. And you're just looking over your stomach. You're just kind of peeking over your stomach, and you're laying on we had a little pillow we had in there. And and when you're shooting, you can only shoot right-handed. You're shooting at least directly in front of you or over to the left.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, especially when you're looking straight up and you have no concept of where you are.
Yeah.
And birds are flying, and it's really weird.
And, they're usually going to come into that spread directly ahead of you or to the left. And that's where you're going to put your open pocket. And when you're spreading the decoys, you're going to either make it at a V or at a W, and you're going to put that layout boat at the apex of that V or at the end of that W,
Yeah,
That's a lot of fun. You see a lot of birds,
Oh, yeah.
And
you miss a lot.
You miss a lot because you're shooting from a floating platform.
Right, and you can move like you do if you were on the ground.
Right.
So.
It's a lot of fun. But,
yeah.
we all were bird watchers. We really were. So we liked the birds. There were a lot of ducks we frankly didn't shoot. And everybody said, oh, you shooter divers. No, we didn't all shoot divers. We got a lot of mallards. We got a lot of blacks. Earlier in our duck careers, we saw a lot of cans. We got a lot of cans early. But later on, in the late 80s, we didn't get that many cans and stuff as we did in the early and mid 70s. It was funny, the populations were switching,
Yeah.
A lot of fun. That was the most fun.
Oh, it is.
Dangerous.
It's
but a
hard,
lot of
and
fun.
it's rough on you.
Oh boy,
it's cold and
A lot of work.
A lot of work, and you get battered around, and
boy, I tell you,
you're stiff
picking
because
up
you're
those
laying down.
decoys is a
Oh, yeah.
lot of work.
Oh yeah.
Because you got about at least maybe 25, 30 feet of decoy line out with
Yeah.
the weight on it, and you got to roll them up around those decoys. You got 100 of
Cold
those,
and wet.
and ice, and slippery, and you're wearing these waders, uncomfortable. Whew, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it was
Okay.
a lot of fun. But we were young back then. We
Yeah,
could do it.
exactly. Yeah. Okay, we'll take a short break. You're listening to Inside the Great Outdoors, and we'll be back.